Welcome to the Comm Cafe. Today's episode is all about online training courses. If you're considering creating online courses, or maybe you already have and it's not working out so well for you, well, today is the episode for you. I sit down with Michael Ballard, the host of over 14 courses on Udemy, and he shares a little bit about his experiences with online training, as well as some sales tips from his days in sales and marketing, plus a little background on a health hiccup he had back when he was 6 years old. Now sit back and enjoy episode 48. Hey, good afternoon. It's Dwayne Richards. It's Comm Cafe time. I am the host of the show, and this is a place where we talk with small business owners, entrepreneurs. It's for them as well, and really we talk about mindset, personal development, professional development. I bring on guests, people that I've gotten to know over the course of my time of networking, and they are the subject matter experts. They have something unique that I think would be of value to my listeners, and today is no different. It's a gentleman that I met almost 3 or 4 years ago. We actually met at a Udemy, or Udemy, depends how you pronounce it. I'll get him to pronounce it properly for me. We were in this room and learning from the one and only Scott Patton about how to create online courses and online content. And Michael was there, and we got to know it. And then he actually has a number of courses on Udemy. But Michael, as I said, Michael Bullard, but no, he said Michael Ballard. Like
potato, some would say.
Yes, like the famous owner of the Toronto Maple Leafs, for those hockey fan references.
Yes, some would say infamous, but
potato. Certain vintage. It sort of ages us a little bit. Someone actually did own the Maple Leafs before Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment did.
Yes.
And it was good times those days. All right, Michael. And so let me properly introduce you. You are you're still a blogger. So, yes. Hey, guess what, people? Blogging's not dead. Michael is a blogger. We'll ask him a couple of blogging questions then. He is an online instructor on a number of different platforms, not just Udemy. He is a speaker, coach, and keynote and workshop facilitator. So, Michael, that is a resume of things.
Yes.
How do you keep it all straight?
Sometimes with ease and sometimes with difficulty. Never before coffee or tea, though.
And if people follow Michael, and hey, if you don't follow Michael, you should on Facebook. That's a quick reference because Michael every morning has a post about tea or coffee, or what time is it? And it's tea or coffee time. So what time is it right now? Is it tea or coffee this time of day?
Up until about 4:30 in the afternoon, it's coffee time, unless it's extra relaxing time. I was blessed and challenged with very low blood pressure, so coffee is my picker-upper.
All right.
I can do without it, but it just gives you that little bit of oomph. Brings the heart rate up to over 60 and brings the blood pressure up. That running stairs is much easier.
All right.
So
a quick health tip. Now, I know you talk about, and that I'm sure like health and wellness is a number of sort of some of the areas that you cover, but maybe just share a little bit quickly just what your background was.
Sure.
What you used to do versus where you are today. So what qualifies you to do all the stuff you do today?
So my personal background is I had a health challenge at 6 years old. I had a concussion, and my roommate within 5 hours of arrival at a major hospital also had a concussion. And that's when I had my big aha moment that two people having almost an identical issue, two young boys, 6 years old, both having a concussion. I wanted everything quiet with no lights and just go away. And I found out as an adult that we were both acting typical, because there's two responses, I'm told, to a concussion when you're conscious. He, on the other hand, was very agitated, made screaming and shouting his nonstop regime. He'd catch his breath and start again for another 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm like, if this is torture. I don't know what real torture is like, but this is torture. I wasn't sure at 6 what torture was, but I was pretty sure that I was experiencing it, and I was. So he did this for several hours, and my parents advocated for me and got me a room all by myself where there was no lights. They closed the door, and because it was back in the 60s, we didn't have MRIs. they had to wake you up every hour on the hour to check your pupil dilation, one versus the other. Because if one's really dilated and one isn't, that means you got internal bleeding. X-rays were rather primitive when I was 6 years old. Better than nothing, but they weren't the best diagnostic tool. So that was really a big wow, that we could both have a similar experience and not respond even closely. So I became a student of human behavior at an early age. Then a couple of chronic illnesses, and then I had 2 bouts with cancer, had to have an emergency surgery. I was a code, so I got rushed to OR at 23 minutes to midnight. I'm on the table. I learned the power of taking charge. I said to them, I didn't have a watch on, but I still reached up looking at the clock saying, I still got 23 minutes left on my birthday. I'm not counting backwards as you put the mask on my face. You guys sing happy birthday, and I'll suck in so deep, I won't even hear the last end of the birthday. I'll be gone. So 3 surgeons, a couple of nurses, an anesthetist or an anesthesiologist. I was gone, but I went under to the tune of happy birthday to you. It was grand. It was really a good thing. So from there, I got into sales and marketing after I graduated from college in sales and marketing. And it's like everything before that got me to understand what rejection was. Because in sales, no means no, just like dating. Except if you rephrase it, sometimes the no turns to maybe. And if you rephrase it again, sometimes they say to yes. So persistence. So I earned a reputation of being a high producer, and I was tasked with bringing back clients that had left us. So again, persistence, key messaging, and being gently upbeat. I remember being told, leave my property or you'll be charged with trespassing because of who you represent. And I was like, whoa. And so that prepared me for bigger rejections when I got promoted to another territory where for 30 years, this one client would not deal with us. And 4 years later, we had all of his business. But I treaded very softly. I didn't even introduce myself the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th times I went. I met with his assistants, his long-term staff. And over the course of 4 years, I won them all over. And in the 4th year, I went in and met with him again. And he went, you're not going away. I went, no. And now he was in the pharmacy business and owned a pharmacy. So I said, it's sort of like a rash. You know, it's just, I'm like a rash. I'm sort of there to aggravate, but if you put the right bomb on, start doing business with us, I'll go away with you, but I'll see your staff a lot. So I found out a sense of humor in intermediate and low-level difficult times could really build relationships. And so that became one of my modus operandi was when things were tough, find a way to make people laugh. Because if you can make them laugh, not at themselves, but at me, the situation, then suddenly just things got relaxed and suddenly people were more open. Their heart and their ears and their mind opened up and you could connect with them in new ways and engage on a sensible, respectful dialogue about making money, saving money, and building business. So that's the...
I like that a lot. Now I'm going to ask you a follow-up question on that because it was... What I took away from that was about building relationships for advocates for you on the inside.
Yes.
So you did the long play, you know, not a lot of people would commit to like a 3 or 4 year plan, but maybe share a little bit, like, how did you come up with that idea? Like to building relationships internally to make external decisions easier.
Partly that's a personality trait. So I'm really high social. And if the owner of the business basically politely said, no, don't come back, never come back, I don't like your company, fair enough. He's entitled to his opinion. It took me a long time to find out that 20 to 30 years ago, we didn't treat him very well. He left with good reason. We never apologized. We never made good on any broken promises. We don't deserve the business. Mm-hmm. But as I learned, just because a relative in our family does something wrong, it doesn't mean we're all like that. So I talked to some of my wise advisors, my mentors, and one of them said, practice this phrase. Have you ever had an employee disappoint you? Have you ever had an employee disappoint a customer and then blame you? He said, we're not admitting guilt. the last thing we need is a lawsuit for $12,000 or whatever the stupid number was that we screwed up on. Anyways, so I slowly met with everybody else on his team, and over time, found out they really liked the representative, didn't like the company. Oh, they really liked our product, but they didn't like our company from what they'd heard about us. But again, to quote my mentor, have you ever been disappointed by somebody on your team that disappointed a customer? That's then, this is now. I'm the new and improved version 2.0. Maybe you were dealing with a beta that had bad software. Anyways, I got the head cashier, I got the shipping and receiving, I got the merchandising people all on side after 3 years. And then I started showing proof from other competitors, indirect. They were out of their geographical competition area, so I could show testimonials. Something else I learned from a mentor early on that I managed to do. I did a course with Scott on testimonials and show proof that we switched to Hallmark and Michael Ballard. We switched to this company and Michael Ballard, and sales went up 37%, superior merchandising, better margins, cleaner inventory, better training of staff. So by the time I went to him, he went, "You're a cheeky so-and-so, and you're not, I understand you're in the store more than our rep." I said, "Well, your business is important to me. You're not chump change. You're an honest-to-gosh client big enough to make anybody excited." Because, you know, back then, a $4,000 a year client was, "Yes, we'll take your business. Oh my gosh, it's going to take more paperwork time than it's worth." But the company was legendary for having turned down a small company that turned into a 300 store location within 25 years. And every new buyer that was hired saying, "Don't deal with this supplier. They blew us off when we had one location." "You're too small." That was the height of arrogance. But so we got told, take them all unless they're under $1,000 a year. And I was managing, in today's dollars, about $6 million a year. You don't really want a $4,000 client, but $4,000 clients add up. You just can't service them as often.
Yeah,
So,
and you never know who they know, who they have coffee with, who they play golf with at the golf club.
And when I worked on the East Coast, that was very true. I had a $2.4 million client, and I had a $50,000 client, and the $50,000 client had lunch regularly with the owner of the $2.5 million client, because they had been to school together, and they were in different businesses, but they both did retail.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
yes.
So that's a nice. That's so fantastic. So now we kind of planted the seed. Okay, Michael? There's a few things that Michael knows. Now you got into online training courses. So how did you, like, before you even met Scott? So how did you get into that?
Well, I've been really interested in education because I am, to be as polite about me as I can, have special learning skills, which also means I don't learn quite in the same way as others do. If you look at the theory of multiple intelligence, there's 10 types. We all learn, but we don't all learn the same way. So having failed high school 1 year twice because of spelling and grammar issues and a hint of dyslexia, my friends Trevor and Cheryl used to laugh when I made them Shrever and Trerl, and Dick and Wendy became Wick and Dendy. And so I thought, wouldn't it be nice if people could have some half-hour to 2-hour video programs and little 3-minute, 7-minute bites that they could drop in and out of as they have time. And then one day I was doing some coaching and workshopping with a bunch of grandparents. And an 84-year-old grandmother said, "Young man, I need a program for my 12-year-old. It's got to be simple. I only got grade 12. She's 12 years old. I got to be able to absorb what you tell me and say it with confidence to the 12-year-old. I need life skills because she doesn't have parents. I'm the only relative living. I need to give her the best start in life, but I'm 84. I might not be around. So it has to be age appropriate because she'll get assigned to the account. It's in my will." I was like, whoa, no pressure. And she knew my topic of resiliency, and she'd seen me do workshops. So it was a matter of, I need to take my workshops I do live and put them online. And Udemy and others were starting up to do that. And Udemy came along and said, "We'll host it for free, but we want half of what you charge, but we'll also let you give it away." And I was like, oh, So for an 84-year-old grandmother who's working with a very limited budget, it made sense that I could go, sure, here's the course, it's free, but in turn, I want a real good review if you think it's appropriate. I got a 5 out of 5, just for the record. So that got me started, because when you have an 84-year-old point out the 12-year-old and say, I might not be here in a year. You need to give me some life skill programs that I can teach her. And that's my legacy as part. I can teach her right from wrong, good from bad, and how to dress age appropriate. But your resiliency stuff is foreign to me. So that got me hooked.
That's really good. All right. How many courses do you have now?
Now 14.
14. Now, and this is what I love to talk about, because some people say, oh, like I'll inject a little bit about myself. So I did my first one. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to do one. And then it's like, no, then I needed 2. So I'm at 3. And then they can. So let's talk about yours.
Sure.
So how many are like continuations, or like from, say, like level 1 to level 2, and then how many of the 14 are completely different? You're targeting completely different students.
7 of them are a couple are business, and a few are self, and then I have 8. Let's see. Yeah, 8. There we go. You're the accountant. You see, I'm 8. I have 8 that are all interrelated. They're themed on relationships for life. So 7 are individuals, so you can just buy one at a time. And then there's the all-together one.
The granddaddy.
All 8, all 7 put together. And that's the super, and that's the one we're going to put together a funnel for.
Okay.
So
is the granddaddy, is it up on Udemy now?
It's up. It's going for the same price as the others. We're still getting reviews. We'll probably redo a couple of the small 3-minute segments over time, and we're probably going to do one and put it in that one strictly for that one. You have to buy the whole series to see. We're going to do an extra module and added value, if you will, if you do the big one. And that's got 8 hours of video with some PowerPoint, some questionnaires, and a couple of PDF files to download, print off, and have a talk, because it's about relationships for life. Everything from boundaries and expectations to what's a narcissist, how do you deal with a narcissist, how do you stay safe from a narcissist, dating and relationships, talking about communications. We do one on personality styles. So that's pretty exciting. I work with a psychotherapist that's well known in the region who's published 2 books. So it's a good place for people to see and learn more about her work. And it's a back and forth. Some of the courses I interview her and we back and forth, and then 2 or 3 were mine and we back and forth, and it's exciting. And we've got some charities very interested to work with youth in using it with their children and their youth that they work with. They wouldn't replace the counselors these charities have, but it would be supplemental, because the kids can sign up. It's all age appropriate for 13 and up. And then it means that they can look at it at 2 in the morning if they want to review when they can't sleep.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, what's the what would you say what was the biggest positive first to working with a co-author?
I've worked with a co-author several times, including Scott, and I also went out of my way once to work with somebody from another country. They're the voice, they're the script, I'm the voice. So I work with somebody from a country that doesn't have good internet. They're just where I was when I lived in rural Canada. I had dial-up at 14.4. It worked. It was just very frustrating. My videos were 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter on my screen, and that's what he has, so he can't do video. So he sent me the script, I did the audio, and we've got 25 reviews, and we both think we did okay. Mm-hmm. But he's in a crowded marketplace targeting university students with not a lot of money in what some would call third world countries. I would just say countries where there's not a lot of personal disposable income. So to ask $10 for the course in Canada is not much.
Yeah.
But for some people, that's a couple of days' money. So their expectations are real big. So our ratings in that one are just okay. And then on the other hand, I did one with Scott as my executive producer, and I think we've gone past, I haven't checked for a week, we've gone past 6,000 students, and we've had a bucket load of 5 out of 5 reviews and one out of 5 review. And some people are just grumpy pants, okay?
Yeah, you always get those ones. We've had those guys too, and eventually it's like, hey, guess what? You're on Udemy. You paid like $10 for this course. It's not you're getting good quality, but it's different people are at different levels or have different expectations.
Different expectations, yes. And then I've done this 7-part series in Toronto, in the same room with Victoria and her sound, audio, lighting guru. And he's a guru. He's just not a good person. He's worked nationally and internationally for 3 Canadian national broadcasters and 3 or 4 international broadcasters. So his cinematography, his video capture skills, his lighting skills, his audio skills are like, wow. The only thing we didn't do in a big way is we didn't have a professional makeup artist. And as I like to tease, with this mug, it's too late.
Hey, so let's for people that are thinking of doing online courses,
Yes.
let's share maybe if you're okay, you can share a little story about the importance of early on knowing the quality of both the audio and the video.
Yes. So audio, video, and lighting are 3 of the fundamentals. Content is another discussion. But one of the things I've learned is Udemy and a couple others were early startups. They've got market share. One of them's got 12 million. Udemy's got 12 million students plus. Some of the other ones, one of the ones I'm in discussions with has 25 million corporate only, but they're still in beta and they're only dealing with currently in the startup for my style of teaching with soft skills. They only have 30 or 40,000 students. They haven't released it to the 25 million yet, but I got in early. I put up 4 programs, haven't paid much attention to it because they're still in beta, and $8 every 2 months is not going to get you real excited, but it's a start. So I've learned that you do the highest quality audio, video, and lighting you can without breaking the bank, because the newer platforms are expecting 1080. One of the platforms is telling me do it in 4K. We're only going to put it up in 1080 in beta, but later we'll go back and access your file and put it back up in 4K. Because the price of broadband internet's going down, the expectations of the viewer listeners are going up. So, but many of the newest cell phone, mobile phones are shooting in 4K. It just means you have to be careful you don't overload your system, because good lighting, good audio, good video chews up storage space on an iPad or whatever you're using. So my lesson I learned early on was that the gear I had and the gear I rented for a couple things, it was good. It did basic 1080, but my first camera, which you saw me with, it shot in a 4:3 format. And 4:3 format's going away, and 16:9 is becoming also the format. So 16 units wide, 9 units deep. So that gives us what we have on this screen. So understanding that, and also adjusting your microphone so that loud noises don't cause distortion, that either it hurts people's ears or the microphone can't cope. And then I learned that the background's really important. You know, yes, looks like you read books. For all I know, they're all been read by you and annotated, and you memorize them all and use them. On the other hand, did you rent them for today?
Or if someone wants to rent my studio for the day, hey, you can rent my studio for the day too. That says, or I could be renting someone's studio for the day who just happens to read a book, and I don't. But no, it turns out that actually that picture is of all of my family, all of my nieces and my nephews and my brother are all in that. So it is my back, but you're 100%. And I like your background too. Like maybe people on the podcast don't see us, but just as a quick tip, anytime we did a lot of Facebook Live video, or when you're recording for your background for your Udemy, you don't necessarily have to have like flow charts and detailed stuff. but just a very calm and a non-distracting background,
Yes.
so that you are so if it's going to be, hey, you're my guest, you're the center of the attention today. I want people to see you and not be distracted by a pile of
Yes.
laundry in the background or something.
It's fun to do a podcast from the beach, but if the wave sounds are so loud that I can't hear you very well, and if after 3 attempts to listen, I give up. You've lost a listener.
Yeah.
Because you did it twice from the beach in a row, and I'm not going to waste my time blocking off an hour to listen to you broadcast from the beach that you're so proud of. That I can't.
It's a fantastic point. You didn't even know this, but one of our podcasting clients, she recorded her first episode and got home, and her husband, who actually is an audio sound guy, listened, is like, you can't play that, because it's like, it had like the nice lapping, sounded like nice lapping waves in the background. When she got into it, it's like, and like, you don't want to be listening to that.
So I haven't made that mistake yet, but that's the thing you have to remember to do and not to do. And before we turn the camera on and the audio on, you talked about the checklist. Yeah. So make up a checklist. Send it off to your friends who do this too. Ask them what would they add or what would they take away. Is there something different that you'd add for outside versus inside? I have a physical location near me that I wish I could do a podcast at because it's beautiful. I live near some condominiums that have $2 million, $4 million condos. And the water fountain in the driveway is gorgeous. But you can't hold a conversation there because it's a real fountain. It would look good. It'd be a moderately adequate fountain in Rome. But for Toronto, where we don't have a lot of fountains, it's a solid 7 out of 10 water fountain. It's gorgeous. I love to go read a book there, but you can't do an audio there. I've taken people there for a video shoot, an audio. No, wait a minute. I've taken people there for a picture to get their professional portrait done.
Yeah, photo shoot.
For social media, for photo shoots. That's the phrase I was after. And so it's gorgeous for that. They look like they're, international travelers, but it's useless for something. So that was lessons learned.
It's really about awareness, right? Because it's just because we're aware or not aware. We think, it looks fantastic. It's just, we don't, as well as like if you're filming in a public place, like be aware like who's in the background, like who's accidentally photobombing you, like you just never know.
Behind you doing this it really kills your credibility. Yeah. And then
all right, so how can someone learn more about you, or is it find you on Udemy? Where because we always say to have people love to listen, and then also what we've learned, or what I've learned, is sometimes people just want to be told what to do, or given like a very specific call to action to say, "Hey, great, nice of you and Michael to sit and chat for the day, but what did you want us to do?" So I know sometimes I have and I can make an offer to someone that, hey, they can, if they're listening, today's theme is about Udemy, and what I'll do is I will offer up my course on the 4 fundamentals of financial planning. 4 things you need to know: cash is king, lifestyle, living benefits, and what if. So I'll offer that up as a coupon for our listeners, and yes. And to return a favor to say, as a thank you for being on the show today, can we direct people to one of your courses so they can learn a little bit more about what you do? And we talked about this is a great tool to use Udemy courses as a way to say, hey, here's what does Michael do? I'm like, I'm not sure, but I've taken one of his Udemy courses, and I know a little bit more about what he does by taking his online content.
So for those that are watching and listening with their business hat on, we could give them a coupon for the testimonial course on how to get testimonials, video, audio, written. Because it's all about testimonials help us build trust, shorten our sales cycle, or deepen our relationship with a current customer who might not have bought off you in that area of your expertise before, that product line. So there's that. And then if they ask, if they're interested, we can give them a coupon for the Relationship for Life series. And whether it's for themselves or maybe they have a teenager they want to talk to about relationships, and they can watch it and then share it with their teenager. We give them both. So that's 8 hours of programming for the Relationship for Life, and about an hour for the testimonial course, one for business and one for personal.
I love that. So thank you so much. I know that you are a man from the heart, and your goal, like your and my goal, are to serve as many people as possible.
Exactly.
And how do they know what we do until they can kind of taste it?
Yes.
Sample it. Okay.
So they can reach me two ways. If they go to resiliencyforlife.com, they'll find me there. That's my website. There's a page for the blog and a page for the videos. Or they can email me to ask for these links, which I would do with pleasure. And that would be resilientmichael@gmail.com. Or if you want to put it up.
Yeah, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it in the show notes, both
Perfect.
on my website, communicationsforresults.ca.
Okay.
Under this episode, we'll have a little bio of who Michael is. We'll have a photo. So in case you're listening, you wonder, what does Michael look like? We'll put a photo up there of him.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
That'll crash the site.
I know. And then we'll put the link. So then if people didn't quite get the address, they can just go to, again, communicationsforresults.ca.
Great.
On this episode, and they can find the links there. Or like I said, they can just message me at Dwayne Richards, or at, let me start over. Information, more so info@dwaynerichards.com, and email me and I'll share it with you. Or I'll just find Michael on Facebook. I'm sure you must, maybe not 5,000 friends yet, but maybe you are.
I did a lot of pruning, so I'm down from 4 to 3,200.
Ah, there we go.
Well, some people are lonely and won't take no for an answer. Some people just want to sell me something too often. And I don't mind people, you want to post something you're selling, but when you do it 3 times in a row on my page, no.
Cool.
And when I know what you're selling is actually a knockoff, then it's really no. You can't buy
there's still some people that
for $9.99 plus $20 shipping and handling when they're in my store next door for $200.
Yeah, some people still don't have that. How to attract people. They've perfected how to chase people away.
Yeah. So yeah, or LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. I've got a business page on LinkedIn, Resiliency for Life.
Okay.
So yeah, that would be great. I look forward to it.
Nice branding. And again, consistent branding across the different platforms. So depending on what your platform of choice is, if it's LinkedIn, Facebook, or good old email, all good options. All right, Michael, thank you so much for being on today. And like I said, we talked a little bit. We will have you back on again, because I'd like to go back into a little bit more detail as to maybe one of the specific things that you coach and you present on, so that people can really get a taste of and a listen of what that brain, that capacity of knowledge that you have, that you love to share with people.
Okay, love to.
All right. Hey, listeners, thanks for stopping by and listening to this episode of the Comm Cafe. Remember, if you found this useful, don't forget it's quite okay to like it or share it, or both, or hop over to iTunes and subscribe, because I'm having guests on that are going to be on again. And if you subscribe, you will get notified of when they're back. So make it a great day. Have fun. And thank you for stopping by the Comm.
Bye.